So we were in Burbank from 2001 roughly until 2010. So about 9 years, 8 to 9 years in that building, where the Deliverance was released, the SIG-X was released, and the Memphis was released. And we did some custom products, one-off things for various artists, and we refined our cabinet production, improved cabinet production, designed some speakers with Eminence, what ended up being a regular relationship with Eminence Speaker Company, and less of a reliance on Celestion, and just more of this is like a real full-blown organization now, where we know what we're doing, we know why we're doing it. We came up with the concept of the drive to produce a new product. What are we doing, and why are we doing this? And from that sprang the ethos that every new design, every new idea for a product has to have a reason to exist. That was developed in Burbank. And so we were in Burbank up to the point where we ran into the Lehman crash, the financial crash, which slowed everything down. Basically, big cabs and big heads were no longer of any interest to anybody. And at the same time, we were really extending this idea of the burden of the VHT brand and the image that was getting further reinforced that we were this one-dimensional metal-focused company. It was, like I said, it was never the case, but that's how we were perceived. And a lot of times, if people see you a certain way and it's good for business, then yeah, you don't really fight that. But we always did sort of push back against that, because we never were a one-dimensional company. We weren't singularly focused on a particular genre like that. I'm interested in every kind of music, every kind of music. It's classical, it can be country western, I don't care. Punk rock, progressive, it's not that I don't care. I love every kind of music. I love every kind of style. I love every kind of genre. Everything that has heart and soul and energy to me is music, it's valid music, and I want to be a part of that one way or the other, whether playing it, performing, listening to it, associating with the artists involved in that, in those variety of genre, just hanging out with musical people. That's really all it has ever been for me and about the company. So to be basically having associations, to be associated with all these various artists, and there were artists in other genres that sort of understood what we were about and didn't let the image bog them down like some other artists did. They didn't care so much about the trends. They cared about what the rig did and what it brought to their playing and their sound. But that wasn't the majority. The majority were, you know, VHT, yeah. So we started developing the idea that maybe there's a way to broaden our appeal with the wider musical community, where instead of trying to market against our brand, it would be better to focus our marketing on a secondary brand or a sister company or something like that, that would have broader visual appeal for artists that weren't just the real super aggressive hard rock, metal, whatever type of player. So we started putting our energies into that, and we started developing the Memphis amp, and we specifically designed it cosmetically to be a break from the Pitbull mentality. We even considered the possibility of having Memphis be a sub-brand rather than just a model name. So originally the Memphis initiative started out as, let's create a Memphis company So we went and trademarked Memphis for guitar amplifiers and started thinking about having a Memphis brand. And we also thought seriously about rebranding the company, but we thought that that could be potentially, difficult in the marketplace. Then again, at that time, the way computers and technology and the internet was taking over the marketplace, that you saw across all industries, there was this structural rebranding going on. It was a trend. Like in the 80s, it was the leverage buyout, so Harley Davidson bought their name back, and Fender bought their name back from CBS through a LBO, a leverage buyout. So that was a big trend in the 80s, the LBO. Going into the 2000s, the business trend was rebranding your company. So you saw things like the phone companies going from AT&T or whatever to Spectrum, started rebranding to try to come up with a brand identity that had a broader, more forward-focused appeal. And we were looking at that thinking, that's something that we could probably legitimately consider doing because we think that it would help us. So we started doing that, and we also started doing things like subcontracting to other companies. Certain things that other companies wanted to build, or products that they wanted to make that weren't really the kind of things that we would release, we could sell those designs to other companies so that they could produce them and sell them. So in a way, I kind of likened it to being in a band that had a particular image, but I'm going to go out and do a solo record, and I'm going to expose the industry or the public to this other side of my personality by releasing a solo record stylistically different from the band I'm in. And while I wasn't interested in separating myself from VHT and starting another company, I was interested in broadening the overall appeal of the company and its possibilities. So we started doing contracting for other people. We started figuring out if the Memphis thing is going to break out into another company. And then the company that we were doing consulting for said, why don't we just buy your company? And we kicked that around a little while, and then we just said, no, I don't think so. But then we thought, if we were to try to rebrand, how would we accomplish that? How do we maintain our integrity and our focus and our product line and rebrand and keep everything rolling as normal? It seems to be a trend. It seems to be an acceptable thing to do. And it seems like other companies are successfully transitioning into this more broader, appeal to the consumer, the end user. So we thought, let's see. So the entity that wanted to buy the company, they wanted to do things a little differently anyway. So we back and forth, and then it turned out that, you know what, how about if we just buy your brand, and then you can design products for us under that brand, and then we can go on and rebrand ourselves and continue producing our existing product and the new product that we want to release under the new brand. And at first we didn't think that much of the idea, but the offer kept getting better and better until it was like too hard to resist. So we agreed to a deal. They paid us quite a lot of money for just the VHT badge. And then once that was accomplished, they came back and said, and we don't really need your design consultancy anymore. We've got people that can do that here, so we'll just do that. How about that? And I just thought, wonderful. We thought that we were going to sell the brand name, the badge, and maybe some of the assets, maybe some design assets that they could produce out of their facility that we thought was maybe a good idea, but not a great product for us to release. And they turned around and said, you know what, we decided we don't need any of the product that you might want to, unload. We'll just take the name, that'll be fine. And we went, okay, the price is right, we'll do that. And it was a good enough deal that we could rebrand the company and do the appropriate marketing to explain to people what this transition is about and re-envision the company in real time. And there would be a momentum and a continuum there that would make sense to everybody. And that just felt like a great decision, so off we went. And then, hello, economic crash. Well, now the product that we normally would sell and continue on with were the things that the consumers couldn't buy or afford. Big 412 cabs, big heavy amplifiers, high-end quality gear that I can't afford and I don't need. I'm out of a job, whatever. It was a tough time. And not only that, we had made this break from the old brand to the new brand, which was Fryette, and we re-established the company under the corporate Stephen Fryette Design Inc. Starting in 2009. So everything that was produced up to 2009 was VHT under our auspices and all of our original designs. After 2009, VHT became a brand that produced low-cost, entry-level product from China. And the great thing about that at the time was that would put VHT completely out of the eye of our clientele. And we thought that would be good because there would be no distraction. But because of the crash and because of the drop in sales, we redirected the money that was going to go to the marketing effort into the survival effort, which we did. So we moved into a smaller facility, reorganized all of our production, made the new nameplates, and then started designing new product to sell under the new brand. Unfortunately, it took a while for the economic turmoil to work through, a number of years, and so we just continued on as Fryette, but we weren't able to do the marketing and awareness of the transition for anybody to really understand what had happened. And frankly, nobody was paying attention anyway because they were just trying to survive, just like we were. End users, families, everybody's just trying to make it through this chaotic time. So we just put our heads down and focused on our design work and brainstormed new ideas and figured out how to get out of our own way and come up with new things that we hadn't thought of doing before. And all of that stuff happened as a result of our transition from Burbank into North Hollywood, a new facility that was more streamlined and more focused on specific kinds of things, and where we did more specialized production. And we still continued doing outside consultation for other companies and doing design work for other companies. And so that actually expanded. And so from 2010, we had made the transition to North Hollywood.